This week on the Otago Opportunity, we have a bonus episode. We're going to meet the opportunity candidates here in Otago and learn a little bit about them. From Helen Tait in Waitaki to Mathew Phillips in Taieri, Queenstown-based Bianca Beebe in the Southland electorate, and Dave Bainbridge-Zafar in Dunedin.
This is the Otago Opportunity, a limited series look at the future of our province. I'm your host, Pauline Moore, and in this series, we're taking the policies of the Opportunity Party and moving them out of the Wellington think tank and into our own backyard here in Dunedin. Each week we'll hear from local business owners, students and families about how a tax reset or a citizens' assembly would actually impact their daily lives. It's not about the politics, it's about the future of the place we call home. Welcome to the Otago Opportunity.
Welcome to our 4 Otago Opportunity candidates. If we could start with you, Helen, can you tell us a little bit about your background and what motivated you to step forward for the Waitaki electorate?
Okay, well, I live in Wanaka, over at one side of the electorate. I come from a working background in the public sector, both local government and central government, management roles, and latterly consulting and contract work, mainly in community planning and organisation reviews. So always focused on the quality of the services and planning for the future. And I've been increasingly frustrated over recent years with how difficult that focus is to maintain with the constant flip-flopping and changes between one government and the next. So the attraction and joining opportunity was seeing a party that had values and policies that were really firmly focused in setting a firm vision for the future and working towards it. And I see that as being the only way that the country's going to realise its full potential. So I think the policies focused on long-term planning and data-based decision-making mean that we can really work towards realising the full potential of the country. Real change is what's required, and opportunity I see as being the only way we're going to get out of the current flip-flop.
Thanks, Helen. Mathew, what was your motivation and what's your story?
My story is a little bit different than Helen's. I'm a 34-year-old young father. I've got 2 young kids, a 4-year-old girl and a 1-year-old boy. I grew up in Taieri and I lived there. I spent all my childhood there. I moved to Auckland, got an engineering degree, and spent about 8 years in Auckland total before going back to Taranaki. In Taranaki, that was where my daughter was born. That was where my son was born. We worked pretty hard there, but it wasn't a very cooperative economy for us. My wife and I are electrical/software engineers, so it was difficult to find work. It was a relatively cheap place to work, but we ran into a few problems. I got given I don't want to say hospital pass, but I got given like a golden ticket down to Otago. I had a friend down here that had a job going, and my back was pretty much up against the wall, so I took it. We spent the last of the money that we had saved to get a flight for the kids and my wife down to Dunedin, and I drove down with the car and everything that we could fit into it. So been here for about a year now, and I was really motivated to stand to get some representation just for people like me, people that are struggling, people that are like sort of from the bottom, that are going through some hard times, and I guess just lead as an example. It is pretty rough out there at the moment. People are doing it hard. People are struggling to pay the bills, pay the rent, which keeps going up. And I was drawn to opportunity. I thought, these guys have some very bold, courageous policies. They've been campaigning for a while. Very impressive from like a policy perspective, like very big minds. But I thought they were just kind of missing someone like me. So I threw my hat in the ring. I'm a little bit of a joker, a little bit of a trickster. I like to stir the pot.
You're mixing things up.
Yeah. So I thought, maybe just someone a little bit like closer to the ground that can throw a few jokes at people and show, we are intellectually very serious, but we can also be a little bit silly and playful too. So yeah, I'm really happy to be here.
Okay, well, that'll be interesting to see how that goes.
Yeah, thank you.
Dave, from Dunedin.
Yeah, kia ora. So yeah, I've been in Dunedin nearly 10 years now. I first came here actually 20 odd years ago, but didn't move here until about 10 years ago. I'm originally from the UK, and my family have all emigrated to New Zealand as well. The story in my family is that I came here first and I came here last. I came here when I did my kind of OE when I was 19 and spent a bit of time traveling around New Zealand and a bit of time in Dunedin. And when I went home, my folks were looking to emigrate. They didn't like the way the UK was going and were weighing up whether Canada or South Africa or Australia. And I said to my dad, go to New Zealand, Dad, you'd love it. So he did. So my dad and my two little baby sisters and my mum came over to New Zealand, and my dad's a microbiologist and worked at the hospital. My mum works at the University of Otago still in Dunedin. My dad's retired now. Those two little baby sisters that were 2 years old and 6 months old. One of them's now a lawyer up in Auckland. The other one lives here in Dunedin. And over the years, various family came across to see them for a holiday or for Christmas and thought, hey, Dunedin's pretty nice, and moved here as well. So by the time I moved over 10 years ago, I had 12 family members here. I had aunties and cousins and sisters and nephews and nieces and my folks. So yeah, this is where my family is. This is home. Absolutely love Dunedin. Wouldn't live anywhere else. And put my hand up for the Dunedin electorate. I'm not something I ever saw myself doing, but deeply dissatisfied, I think, with the current government and uninspired with the alternative. So I put my hand up.
That was your motivation.
Yeah, I mean, I've worked in local government for a while. I'd worked in central government in the UK and done some local government stuff. Came over to Dunedin and worked for Dunedin City Council. Worked for Health New Zealand for a while, and now I'm back in local government. And just, when trying to get the new Dunedin Hospital built and trying to do other stuff with Health New Zealand, kept butting up against the challenges from central government, making things real hard for people. And was very, very dissatisfied with the performance of this government, and not inspired by what Labour were offering as an alternative. And then met Q and was very inspired by what she was offering as an alternative. So never voted for TOP before, as they were at the last few elections. Hadn't really been on my radar, but like I say, just dissatisfied with the major parties, and looked at this new party that had changed their name to Opportunity instead of TOP, and had got rid of that guy in Christchurch, Raf something, and now they've got this new leader whose name I couldn't pronounce, and went along to see her speak in Dunedin and was super impressed. And I've jumped in and I'm all in with Opportunity, and it's been an interesting few months and a few months to go to the election, but loving it so far.
That's good to hear. Plenty of enthusiasm so far. Bianca, tell us your story.
Kia ora. Well, as you can probably tell from the accent, I'm originally from the US. I'm Dutch Indonesian, but born in the US. So really a bit of globe-trotting before I even got here. And I initially came to New Zealand in 2012 to backpack, and then I loved it so much they couldn't get rid of me. It's basically the story. And I'm a public health researcher and labor organizer by trade. And I am standing in the Southland electorate because I am a Queenstown local. And I think what has really drawn me to Opportunity is its focus on building consensus. Because I've been in the policy space for a while, the political space for a while, and when I was offered this opportunity, all puns intended, I suppose. I was talking to other people in the community and really thinking about it. And what was really extraordinary to me was the incredibly wide range of people who thought it was a great idea. So farmers that I know in Southland, to hardcore environmentalists down in Fiordland and Tiano, as well as fellow labor organizer friends, quite a lot of tech-focused people in Queenstown, and as well as a huge range of class and wealth disparity. People were overall pretty open to the idea of opportunity. So that is so unique to have so many different people interested in what a political party might have to offer. And I think particularly, seeing how extraordinary division and aggression has gone for the United States, I think a real focus on building cross-party consensus so that we can build an innovative future that serves all of us is something that should be a real priority in New Zealand politics at this point in time. And Opportunity is quite serious about that, which is why I have really, felt quite confident working with them and have been just having honestly a great time with the entire team. It attracts some really, really cool people. So it's been wonderful.
Thanks, Bianca. Look, we haven't really got time to get right into policy on this episode, and it's more about meeting you as candidates. But can you think of, your favourite policy and why it is your favourite? Helen?
I think the party's tax policy, which a lot of people struggle with, but it's wonderfully well explained on the website and people can delve into the nitty-gritty of it if they want to. But in the first instance, assuming that we will be there as part of a coalition with whoever is the successful parties to be in coalition with us, what we're talking about is not the full implementation of that tax policy, but a really thorough look at tax, starting from absolute basic principles and looking at what we want to achieve with the way we gather and spend money. And that's one of the things that I think's been really badly served by the flip-flopping that I was talking about before.
Thanks, Helen. Mathew, what's your favourite?
They're all good. My favorite is the land value tax. I think that the house price has gone insane, and Opportunity is just the only party that's willing to really square up with the problem and offer a realistic solution. So there's a lot of good things to like about it, but putting property prices back where they should be so that people can actually aspire to own them one day and not feel as though they have to run over to Australia or overseas to get a plot is really good.
Dave, what would be your best one?
I'm going to cheat a little bit, I guess, and say two. I mean, obviously, I love the themes of Opportunity, of stopping that division and flip-flopping every 3 years and being, as a blue-green party, pro-environment, pro-business. For me, the two big ones, though, are housing, because I think that can just solve so many issues from health issues to social issues. Having a safe, secure place to call home is so important. And then the other one, my favourite one that I've been campaigning on for years, is free public transport. That's it's got to be up there as a favourite for me, for sure.
Bianca, have you got one or a cheeky two as well?
For me, it's our energy policy, which it ties into everything. So you can either say that's one policy or it's all of the policies, I guess. And that is quite cool how, everything that we are proposing is interrelated. But our energy policy is excellent. And I'm lucky enough to be part of the energy nerd crew in Queenstown, where we have a bunch of the local folks, particularly from rewiring Aotearoa. We have drawn quite a lot of inspiration and information from, and that is how I really see Southland being able to grow in a way that is sustainable. Right now we have this kind of big division within the electorate between the Queenstown, Te Anau, very, very tourism focused, and most of the rest of Southland being very farming focused. So if we electrify everything, introduce the ratepayers assistance scheme, triple our renewable energy, we are going to be able to create those really sustainable jobs that enable people to actually build lives that are stable in our community rather than just come in seasonally. And will lower everybody's energy costs to make it a bit more affordable and possible to live here. And everybody will, have more money in their pocket.
I think that it just shows what an interesting mix of candidates we've got here in Otago. Between the four of us, we cover all of Otago. We've got a couple of guys, a couple of girls. We've got candidates in their 30s, 40s, and 60s, and all with different interests. Interesting as well that you've got Mathew and Helen, who are kind of born and raised Kiwis, and then myself and Bianca that were born overseas and moved here. And it's something that Bianca and I spoke about was that, coming from another country to New Zealand, we kind of don't want New Zealand to make the mistakes that we've seen in our country. Bianca was talking about the fact that it blows her friends' minds back in America that she's able to walk the streets at night alone with her headphones on and not fear having a gun pulled on her. And we need to kind of hold on to what makes New Zealand really special and not kind of make those mistakes that we've seen in other countries. And we've got a really good mix of candidates here that can hopefully keep steering the good ship New Zealand in the right direction.
Yeah, I think it's one of the things that's really struck me too as I've talked to people, the point that Bea made about a whole range of different people being interested. I've been really encouraged by the very wide range of people from, the farmers to the businessmen to the homemakers to the greenies who see a chord in the opportunity policies. It's most encouraging going out door knocking and having some really positive discussions with people.
Yeah, I think it's quite cool how we are able to talk about protecting what is so amazing about New Zealand, but we aren't saying the solution to that is just to stand still or put ourselves in some kind of a time capsule. So often we're presented with this really false dichotomy in which we need to either preserve the environment or our way of life or expand the population and have new opportunities as though those are somehow inherently in conflict with each other. And I really like how the party rejects that false premise. On my candidate page, I say rather cheekily that New Zealand is the perfect place to build a sovereign solar punk future because I like to, kind of get people to Google what that is and smile about it. But I really think that's so much of what opportunity represents, right? It envisions a hopeful, sustainable future where humanity and nature coexist and where we are using technological innovation and future planning as a way that makes a better world for all of us. And I think that we're in a really good position to do that.
Thank you. We're just getting to the end now, but it would be really good just to find out maybe one interesting fact about each of you that maybe potential voters don't know about you. Who would like to step up and offer that up?
Well, I'm certainly conscious of the wide variety through the Waitaki district. And it's kind of coincidence that as a consultant, I've worked with future planning with all of the districts in the Waitaki electorate over the years at different times. So it's a really nice feeling to come back as a candidate and have another way of connecting with those districts that I've worked with in other ways in the past. So that's been a great plus for me.
Mathew.
Yep. I don't know. I got quite a few. I'll give you one though. I am a in a past life, I was a musician. I played a little bit of everything except for the drums. So I haven't made anything in a little while. But if the polling gets a little bit higher, I'll drop something for you. Do something a little special.
Something to look forward to. Dave.
I'm going to cheat again and give you 3 little interesting facts about me that my voters might not know. I've won awards for my stand-up comedy. I've had a poem published, and I'm an ex-professional football coach in the UK with an EPL and English Premier League side. So I have an interesting background.
Bianca.
You're too interesting for just one fact, Dave. Can't hold you down. Well, I think that most people hearing me for the first time will not have known that I am an ex-circus performer and stunt double. So
Wow.
in a previous life, I toured with a circus and have been in a couple TV shows here in Aotearoa as a stunt double. But if I did my job right, you'll never recognize me. So.
What TV shows have you been in? Who have you stunt doubled for?
I was in Ash vs. Evil Dead, and I was in Shannara.
Gosh, we've got some very skilled people here. Great diversity. Fantastic. Okay, that's the end of our bonus episode. Thank you all for coming along. It's great to hear a little bit more about you. And next week, we'll be back to our regular show on Saturday.
This programme was approved by H.Cargo, Secretary at opportunity.org.nz.